And we are live. Hello, my lovelies.
Hello, bookish friends.
I have my fantastic co-hosts, Amanda and Drew, here, and we are excited to discuss the group books from Camp SeasonAthon. Who's excited? I'm excited.
On the bookmark, everybody. We won't talk about that.
So, the author of Wish You Weren't Here is supposed to be here. Maybe she wished she wasn't here, and then she wasn't. But she's currently not here right now. But we are still holding out hope that she does show up. Drew has contacted her and stuff, so hopefully she'll be here. But for now, we're just going to chit chat and talk about the 3 group books. So, did everybody read all? Like, did anybody other than the co-host read all 3 group books? And if not, which of the group books did you read? Comment and let us know. Okay, so Drew, tell us, please, during the month of June, which group book or group books have you completely read in June? Drew. Okay, so has read one in the past, right? You read
I've read The Shadows because I got it from Book of the Month when it was like first released. So I read that one, and I think I gave it like 3 stars, maybe 4 stars. Actually, let me look on Goodreads real quick because let's see.
Have you read Gilded before? I thought you said
No,
you did.
this is my first time. I've read books by Marissa Meyer before because she's an auto buy for me, but this is my first time, and again, bookmarks.
He's halfway through the other 2 groups.
Halfway through. Okay.
I swear I was reading stuff for this month, but I guess not the group books.
Amanda, how did you do?
Well, I read The Shadows way at the beginning of the month because I wanted to make sure I got my group book done, and I was worried that I wouldn't. And then I started another challenge in the middle of the month that
my Litwits.
No, this one is not. This one is
I started Litwits as well.
Wonderthon. It's called Wonderthon.
Oh.
And I'm on a team that's only reading romance. So it was easy for me to read Wish You Weren't Here because that one is got romance in the first 3. It has to be in the first 3 on Goodreads. And so I put off Gilded until like 2 days ago. And I was like, I can finish it in 3 days. It's not a problem. And I am so close to being finished, but I am not quite finished. Every time somebody in my house tried to talk to me this morning, I was like, don't talk to me. I'm trying to finish this book. So I am almost finished with Gilded. It is not, I tried to read Cinder a couple of years ago and I DNF'd it. I was like, so part of it was I did not have very much experience at that point in reading first person books, and I did not like them. And so once I got into more fantasy and more things like that are predominantly first person, or a lot of them are first person, it was easier for me to like those now. So maybe if I went back and tried it again, I would like it because I like the writing in Gilded a lot. So I think that it might have been more me than it was Marissa Meyer. But because of that, I've kind of avoided reading her books. And then when you picked it, I was like, well, I guess here we go. Give it a shot. But I'm almost finished. I finished the other 2. I'm almost finished with that one.
So I saved my group books to read this week. And last week I started Gilded. And so I was like, okay, I'll do Gilded first because that's my group. Mm-hmm. And then this week I would do the other 2. So I read Gilded, and then I read another book. And then I read The Shadows. And then I read Wish You Weren't Here, and then I read another book. So I finished another book yesterday. It was like the day before yesterday, I think it was, that I finished Wish You Weren't Here. So yeah, I did successfully. I read like 20. I think by the time that month's over, I'll have read either 20 or 21
Oh, damn.
books.
This is the most books I've read, but also because I was doing 2 different competitions, everything went off the rails and I did nothing but read.
Mhm.
And so I have avoided everything else in my life that needs to happen
I know.
other than reading. And so
I think, because I'm obviously not at home, the ladies already know this, but I think I'm at 10 books for the readathon and 12 for the month. And then I'm in the middle, like literally in the middle of these two right now. So it'll be 11, 12 for the readathon.
Nice. I've managed to get every single one of my books to fit a prompt.
Oh,
the
amazing.
Hello, Kay. I only read 2 books. I didn't read Drew's group book. I couldn't get it in time from the library.
Oh, no.
yeah, I did have to buy it as well because I couldn't find it.
I bought it, Drew's group book, I bought on Audible.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did too.
Hello, Cool Gamer. I read 14 so far. I'm going to finish the one I'm reading today. I'll start another one. Not sure I'll be able to finish it though. So I have one that I'm just about done with that I'm reading with Marty. We're like rereading Thunderhead because I just knew I knew that The Toll was going to be one of my Have I Read It winners, and so I was going to have to read that next month. I just knew it, and it was.
I know. I saw it on your thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's so
And
good."
so yeah, so we have been reading Thunderhead, and I think we have less than an hour left of listening to that, and so we'll finish that tomorrow. But fortunately, okay, so last week I started doing DoorDash, and I'm like, okay, we need to make some money. Money is tight after months in Europe. Money's tight, and so I'm like having to pay off that massive credit card that I ran up while in Europe. And so I started doing DoorDash, and the first day when I very first started, I brought my camera out and I was like, yeah, I'm starting a new channel. And I came up with a channel name and everything. And I was like, and this is going to be, me trying to make some money and blah, blah, blah. And because I watch people that do DoorDash, I watch their videos and stuff, and I find them entertaining. I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I kept forgetting to take screenshots of the offers from DoorDash and stuff. And I'm like, and talking to the camera and stuff, and I'm like, this is annoying. I don't want to do this. After one day, I was like, okay, I'm enjoying doing the DoorDash, but I am not enjoying trying to film and make content with it. So I'm like, no. And so that first day, I didn't really listen to anything because I was just trying to figure out how to do everything. But then the second day I did DoorDash, I figured out, okay, I can, while I'm going between places, listen to audiobooks. So I've been working, when I work, I'm working like 3 or 4 hour chunks, maybe twice a day. So somewhere in the 6 to 8 hours a day, I'm out door dashing for a couple of days of the week, listening to audiobooks while I'm going. And so that's helped me this week get through a lot of audiobooks, because if I'm home, I'm getting distracted with other things like chores and editing or YouTube or building my son's bed. But when I'm in the car and driving around doing DoorDash, there's not really anything else I can do except for listen to my audiobook. So
I went to the library 3 times this week just to sit down and read. I almost fell asleep the first day that I went. So I was like, nope, we're going home to fall asleep. And then the second day I went, I read half of my book and then finish it later that night at home. And then the third day, I was just there just to chit chat.
Kay says, I won the readathon though. My goal was to read more pages than I did last year, and I accomplished that. Awesome. I read a lot of pages this year. I'll have to look and see how many pages I read last year. I feel like last year I read more, but I also read a lot of graphic novels last year because last year was a thing. So that's why we did things differently this year. And I like that we're competing overall of like nobody's competing against each other, but instead we're competing as a whole for like outdoing ourselves, outdoing the year before. And
yeah, I've got some books to enter because again, I have just been reading like a crazy person and I've barely even been stopping to enter anything. It's just like, okay, next book. And
yeah, same.
So I usually write down, like I keep a list of the books that I read and it's usually just this page. This holds 29 books. And this month I had to go over to the back of this page and I am at 50 books for this month.
Wow.
Which is probably why The Shadows is right here, number 7, which is probably why I cannot remember what happened in this book.
So
it is number 7 of 50, and my brain is blown.
I have Post-it notes with my ratings because I was like writing them down because I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to film a wrap up, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do my wrap up different. But I was also doing Litwits, and so I was writing them down, and I was like having to mark whether I found a thing to put them in on Litwits or not. And I also did with my coffee patrons. I filmed a what do you call it? Better Book It, my little board game that I created, and like it's a weekend thing. And so I filmed that, and during that I read 7 books just in that weekend. And that was incredible, though several of them were not on my TBR.
Oh no.
That was my problem too. I'm like, where am I going to put these? So
when I filmed my TBR, like my wheel of TBR, which you'll see Monday, I believe, I'm like, okay, so here are the books that I got last month, which was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 books. Like, here's the books I read last month, or I was supposed to read last month, or this month actually in June. And I said, I'd already said I read like 15 books at that point of filming. So have I read all 5 of these? Nope. I think I read 2 out of them.
It's okay. I was a terrible YouTuber this month because I had the collab I did with my friends. I didn't get to any of those books with my collab, and I felt so bad. I literally own all of them now, minus 3. 3 I have checked out from my library. So I was like, let me just start with the library books since they're going to be due really soon.
Amanda, do you sleep?
Yeah. So, okay. We can all look at my Fitbit stats and see that no, in fact, I do not. I'm really trying to get 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep, but it's more like 5-ish.
I feel you.
So my life worked fine until I got a part-time job at our library, and now I'm gone 20 hours a week, and it doesn't seem like it's that much, but I need more sleep than I was getting before to function outside of my house. So we're gonna readjust things because I am tired all the time since I started this job.
So I did 20 hours this week. I'm going to do a little bit more tomorrow, but I did 20 hours at this point for this week. And I was exhausted. And like yesterday, for example, I went out and I did, as soon as I woke up, I got dressed, I went out and I started door dashing, and I door dashed for 4 hours. Then I came home, ate lunch, started working on building this stupid bed that's taking forever. Worked on that until about 6:30, and then I left and went door dashing until 11:30 to get another 5 hours in, and then got home around midnight and continued working on this stupid bed until like around 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I laid down and went to sleep around 1:30 in the morning, and then I was up at 8 o'clock this morning. I'm like,
Yeah, this morning I was like, you're not getting out of the bed. You're just going to lay here and lay here. There's nothing for you to do until after lunch. Don't even get out of the bed. So it's not a sustainable lifestyle, I will say, for sure. It is what I did this month, and I am not doing the same thing in July, although I do have 30 books to read in July, but 30 is much better than 50, so we'll see.
Gilded and Cursed by Marissa Meyer were 4 stars, and The Shadows by Alex North was 4 stars as well.
There you go. It's you, Melanie. It's not us.
So, Gilded, I haven't read Cursed yet. I need to. I would like to try to finish. Maybe I'll try to. Nah, I'm not going to finish that this month.
I is bigger, if I'm not mistaken.
Gilded, I gave 5 stars. Wish You Weren't Here, I gave 4.5 stars. Loved them both. The Shadows, I gave 2.5 stars. I was bored like the whole time. There was only one part that I'll say that made me go, "Aw." And for those that have read it, I'll just say it was like the twist when we found out about Jenny. That was the only part that I was like, "Oh," and then other than that, I was just like, "I'm bored. But I wanted to finish it because it was a group book, but I was not enjoying it. And I was like, I don't know. I thought it would be creepier, and it just, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of expected it to be creepier as well, based on the cover, and I don't know. I just thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. And then the reveal at the end was just like, meh.
Yeah.
I almost, I don't want to say anything that's going to like spoil any of the books, but I almost feel like in The Shadows, there should have been some kind of malevolent thing.
Yes.
That was doing this.
There was something missing.
Or it was Charlie the whole time.
I did think the explanation was kind of like, okay. Like it was just like, I'm choosing the easiest way to end this, like the easiest out for.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted it to be some kind of like creepy paranormal type looking monster.
Well, and they set us up to be like freaked out that something was going on in his house, and maybe something was living in his house or moving around in his house, and then the explanation is like, it seemed too convenient for me to.
So you sleep and work part-time, but still read 50 books. You are a reading machine.
I wish I could read at work. I think that would be even better, but my job is to help people who walk into the library. So I can't read, because if I'm fully reading a book, they can stand right in front of me and I will never know that they're right there. And then I'll be like, oh, sorry. So I have to be staring to watch them walk in. So.
It can, but like I haven't had like really big days. I think my average pay is probably like comes out to ended up being like $16 an hour, maybe.
Oh wow.
It's not great. It's not terrible. I probably but I'm still figuring it out, and I could probably do better than that, but I don't know. I'm it's a balancing act of like declining orders and accepting orders, because you don't want to accept these orders that are like there's no tip or anything, and you're getting paid $2 to drive 10 miles, and you're going to spend more than that. You're going to spend that in gas going there, and then you have to get back to where you're going. And
okay. So Kay just asked if you get paid from the tips, but I was going to ask also, like, do you get paid per delivery?
Yes, you get paid per delivery, and it's like DoorDash gives an amount, plus there's a tip amount.
Okay.
and like if they pay like the tip on there, like I have had one person actually hand me a tip, which was like $2, but for the most part, the tip's on there, and you can see that, so you can determine if you want to take this job or not. So, like, for example, let me open up my Dasher app.
I always like. There's no way I would ever look my DoorDasher in the face. I wait till y'all put the food down and walk away, and then I open my door and get it, like it's some kind of drug deal we've just done. And I'm like,
a lot of people want their stuff just dropped off at their door, and that's fine. Like, I'm good with not talking to people.
I'm glad I live in a place right now that doesn't have it, because I used to do it way too much. Like, I would wake up in the morning and be like, I could have breakfast here in like 5 minutes and I would not have to leave my bed.
Yep.
Yeah,
No.
it's really hard to not do that. I get tempted a lot, and then like I have started, and this is before doing DoorDash, I've started so many times placing orders, and I'll create an order. I'm like, do I really want to spend that money? Because I'm all about like trying to pinch the pennies to spend it on things that I really, really want, like trips.
The only time I ever DoorDash is when I'm at work, and I'm always like, I don't need this much food, but I'll take it.
My Dasher app is being slow to open, but like, for example, DoorDash might pay me $2 or $3 for something that's like 10 miles away, but if nobody tipped and that was all I was going to get was $2 or $3, I would decline that, because it's not worth the time and the money and the wear on my car and the gas to drive 10 miles.
Do you have to say like, hey, I'm on duty, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have to, like, when you very first start, you're given like a span of deliveries before you have to do what everybody else, like all the other Dashers do. So right off the bat, you can just, anytime you're ready to do it, you just click on Dash now and you can go out and start doing it. After you've gotten through your first 50 deliveries, you're on the same playing field that all the other Dashers are. And you may or may not be able to hit the Dash now when you want to do it. It may not be available to you. You can schedule your Dashes, but you can't not necessarily be able to go out and do it whenever you want. Now, if you have got like a high acceptance rate and a high customer rating and completion rate and all this stuff, then you get like the Dash now anytime. Mm-hmm. I do not have that high acceptance rate because I decline the crappy orders. But if say like somebody ordered a bunch of food from someplace and they tipped like 15-20%, say they've tipped $15 and DoorDash is going to pay me $3, and that makes the order $18 for me, and I'm driving 10 miles, that is worth it, because that's enough to cover me getting there and back, and so I can get something else. But yeah, if it's just a couple bucks, I don't do it.
I would have to have like that made up ahead of time, like being like, if it's this many miles, it needs to be this much money. That way I wouldn't have to do the math every time. Not math, but just making those decisions every time. Like, I would need to have it.
My thing is like, what I would like to have is at least $2 per mile I have to drive to cover my miles there and back. But I don't get a lot of those at this point. Right now I'm getting I decline a lot, but I like the ones I accept tend to be just like a little over a mile. So I'm driving twice the miles because I have to drive back to the location. So, have you read The Whisper Man by Alex North? No.
I don't think I have either.
I've not read any Alex North except for The Shadows, but I see that she liked that one more than The Shadows.
I did enjoy that book more than The Shadows. Do you just get paid from the tips? I get paid both. And I get paid weekly. Though you can opt to have, like, you can get a card, like a debit card or a prepaid card, or not really prepaid, but they can give you a card and you can get paid the same day and it's just automatically loaded onto your card. But if you want it like put into your checking account or something, you get paid weekly. And that's what I do. See, I would prefer to wait and give cash tips, but then I worry that I'll never get my food if a delivery person sees a $0 tip. But I would tip more in cash than putting it on my card. Now, see, some people, a lot of people will turn down the tips, like the jobs that have 0 tip, and like DoorDash will like come up on, they'll offer it out to somebody else, but they'll offer it with a little bit higher pay from them. And they'll keep doing that. And then at a certain point, they'll go, okay, well, we'll batch it with another order. So, like, say, and I've had this, like, I had a pizza delivery where I had to go pick up the pizza and deliver it. And it was going to be like $12 that I was going to get paid for that one. And then they added on, I had to stop at another place and drop off that food along the way. It was kind of on my path. Didn't really add much as far as driving. And it was like an extra $6, $3 from DoorDash and $3 tip. But it would have been way too far if it was just it by itself. But they combined it with the other one, and I was like, okay, well, I'm doing this anyway. This is going to pay me $18. Or I even did one yesterday. It was added on $2. I got no tip from the customer either, but it was like DoorDash paid $2 for me to pick up this order and take it to them. And I did it. And I was thinking, well, you know, it's on the way anyway. I do have an extra stop I have to make, but it's $2 and maybe they'll give me a tip when I get there. No tip. Hello. Hey, Drew.
Hey.
You got to say hi to Amanda too.
Well, our names, yeah, there we go. Our names were not on there, so.
So I'm representing purple in the color war for those that have read Wish You Weren't Here.
And I'm Team Blue.
And Drew's green, which is Priya's color in the color war. My issue, the only issue that I had with the book was there being someone named Priya and someone named Gia. And I was like, their names are too similar. Yeah,
literally it. But I was
like, should have made his name like Geo or something.
I know. I was like, it's fine. But literally, I couldn't find anything else to complain about. So that was my complaint.
So the only reason, and I said this in my vlog, the only reason I gave it a 4.5 instead of a 5-star was there are some certain points with the main character that I was just like, oh, come on already. Just get over it.
I felt the same way, yeah.
Like she is not doing anything to you. Just chill. But also, who wears nothing but white to camp? Or packs nothing but white to camp?
Yes.
I read that scene this morning and I was like, oh, they're getting some burning happening between the two of the characters.
It was very cute. I enjoyed it a lot. Little Star Search.
I know.
I was like, I remember Star Search. I don't remember a Little Star Search.
I thought it was like Star Search Junior. Maybe she wasn't allowed to like say the actual name of it.
Maybe. I thought it was cute though. Also, Gilded. Loved Gilded. I think my favorite part of that, like how it was written. Like I love her writing. I really, really do. But when our main character is making up her stories, like telling her own little stories. I loved that. Like I loved her stories, like the stories within the story, you know?
Yeah, that was a thing I'm loving right now as well. So
Let's see. Me too, Mel. I felt that way as well about the book. I'm not normally a retelling girly, so I was happy when I enjoyed Gilded. I'm happy you enjoyed it too.
And I had no idea what to expect. So when she was like, I can spin straw into gold, I was like, wait, is this what we're doing? Like, I had no idea until she started telling that story. But you're right. Her stories that she told to the little kids and then that she told to Guild while he was spinning, those were so good. And I would get caught up in that. And then she would stop and I'd be like, wait, what? My dog thinks he needs to eat right now. So
And that's how poor Guild was too. He was like, wait, why'd you stop?
Why keep going? Yeah.
But I liked too that it was like, because I was listening to the audiobook and not physically reading it, I really appreciated that it was very clear. Like, here's where my, like, her story that she's telling begins. Here's where her story ends, so that you know, like, things aren't blurring together. Like, oh, is this the book or is this her story? Which I've had that in other books when listening, and I'm like, I can't follow along.
K for Curse, is it a direct sequel or following different characters? Because I don't know. I didn't read the summary.
It's got to be a direct sequel.
Okay, because I didn't read the summary yet, just because I'm halfway through. But
yeah, no, it would definitely be a direct sequel because of how the first one ends.
Oh, okay.
Yes, based on the description of Cursed, it is. And it's 485 pages in the hardcover, if that.
Yeah, but I can tell you, the way that Gilded ends makes you very much want to
Get Cursed
and find out what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite finished, I will say, but the whole thing about the castle and her wanting to find out the history of it and figure out like why it's important or what it means. And then the fact that the people in the town are like, you know what? I don't think anybody ever lived there. I'm like, of course they did. Why would there just be a castle? Yeah. And so the fact that they like don't question anything because I guess some kind of magic, but they don't even wonder why until she asks. And then they're like, oh, you know what? I never thought about that. I'm like, I just
and then they're all like, it's been the Earl King the whole time, and even the Earl King's like, I
haven't finished it yet either, but he's an intriguing character so far.
At the beginning, I thought that was going to be the love interest. I was like, oh, she's going to fall in love with the king dude. And then I was like, wait, he's so mean. Like, I was like,
I wish I had finished because there's things I can't say. I wish I had finished.
I know. I'm sorry. I really tried. I did not try. I only tried the last 3 days. But
so, Amanda, how much more do you have left of Gilded?
I am at 80%. I can tell you what's happening where I am is that a deal has been made with Guild for him to do the spinning the last time when she didn't have any more items on her. And she has now visited the cemetery with the older lady that's explaining history things to her. Not that she's not a lady, but whatever, that grandma person. And that's where I am right now, literally. And I was like, oh,
so as far as time,
like
you're listening to the audiobook, right?
Yes.
So how long time wise do you have left?
Time wise, I have 3 hours left.
3 hours.
But it's not 3 hours because I'm listening on 2.5. So I have like an hour and a half left.
Okay. So you can probably finish it.
Oh, I will. I will for sure finish before we get
after hours.
Yes.
Okay. So with the after hours, we can talk more. and Drew, what about you? Are you listening to Gilded?
I'm also listening to it because I found out that listening to it, the narrator is Rebecca Soler, I think. However you say her last name, I'm sorry. But she did the Stephanie Garber books, and I love those because of her narrating. So now I'm loving this one. I'm on chapter 33 right now, so like very close to the end, but I'm enjoying it.
So as far as audiobook, the amount of time at the speed that you're listening to it, how long will it take you to finish?
I'm at 62%, and it's 2 hours and 56 minutes on a 2 times speed.
So
If
that's
he does
after the
nothing
2
but
times
that,
speed.
he can-
Yeah, the 2 times speed is on it. So
are you going to try to finish it between the two lives?
I hope so. I hope to get out of work early today, so
That way we can talk about it and I don't have to spoil anything.
I'm really shocked I haven't been spoiled for it, not just because of you finishing it on time, but just because it's been out for a while. I think 2021 maybe. Or
Hello.
2022. But I'm really shocked I have not been spoiled for it.
Yeah, 2021 it says. Also, it's longer too.
It is. It's 500.
Gilded is longer than Cursed. So
Interesting.
No pressure coming from Mel or anything.
oh, I'm finishing it. I need to know what happens. I'm not promising that I'm going on to Cursed, but I'm finishing Gilded.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to like the things that you are saying now, discussing those things once you finished.
I bought Curse the other day at Barnes, and that's what I bought. Those are the books I bought as well.
I saw the list. Or is that one of the pictures you shared on?
I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bought all of these at Barnes the other night.
Hello.
I have to avoid Barnes and Noble because bad things happen to my money.
Bad things happen to my money. Same. So I'm going to look really quick, and I know that not everybody has submitted everything. I know I haven't. But where we are at this point,
I made a mark on my paper for the last thing I submitted, so I know what I have to submit going forward. But I have
I can also double check for you too.
I have 8 books left to submit.
So far, our total pages submitted for all 3 groups together is 131,925 pages.
Nice.
Woo!
Wow. Amazing.
I can also tell you, if we were having teams compete, which we're not, but if we were having teams compete, for one, we would have tried to balance them out. But the more popular team was definitely Shadow Cabin. People were all about the spooky.
Nice.
Spooky in June.
Let me see. I might not be able to join you later. I'll have to see. I hope you can. It'll be at 8 p.m. So the plan for the after hours show, we're going to do that at 8 p.m. We're going to talk about readathon or anything else. Bring your drinks, bring your food. We're going to have Asian. We're going to eat something Asian food inspired, I guess. And we're just going to chill and hang out and chit chat for however long everybody wants to.
Yay.
How many books are you reading them all? Same here with Books and Noble, Barnes and Noble.
And Books A Million. I mean, let's just say both of them are.
Is there a Discord or sign up sheet? Well, there is a Discord, and I might have it I think I have it in the description below, but if not, I can add that. Or if somebody wants to put it in the chat.
Yeah, you don't. I don't see it in the thing down here.
Let me see if I can just
in the description.
Do you want the Discord link, or what are we linking?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll put it in the, where is it? Invite people. I don't want my thing to expire. I hate that it does that.
You can change it to not.
Yeah, I change it to never every time, but still
Well,
every time goes back to that.
Somebody in one of those Facebook reading groups, I tried to join on their Discord, and I was like, this link expired, and she said, yeah, they only give us one for 7 days. I was like, you can change that. And she's like, no, I don't think you can. And I was like, okay. So I just took a screenshot and I was like, you do it like this. And she said, oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
So we do have a Discord, and you can go on there. But just so you know, this is a month-long readathon, and tomorrow's the last day of the month. But we will be having another round because it's season-based. So the next round will be in September for the whole month of September. But you can go ahead and join the Discord so that you'll be there for all of the announcements for that. I'm already hard at work trying to get everything lined up for that round. I've been contacting authors. I've been contacting other booktubers to see who might be a co-host, and busy.
Do we by chance know the group books yet?
No.
So I can't get my detective cap on?
No. I do not. I know what my first choice was, and I never heard back from that author, so that's probably not going to happen. So I can tell you that one. I can I'll tell you my top 2 that I was trying, but I haven't heard from these authors. So to those that don't know, our next round is SeasonAthon Academy. So it's like academic based, and you're getting your Bachelor of Reading, and you pick courses and all of that. And so I was like, I wanted to embrace that with at least the top 2 books that I tried to get the author for. The first one was A Deadly Education by, I think, Naomi Novik. And then the second one was The Teacher by Frida McFadden, to kind of go along with the whole school theme.
Listen, I have so many things to ask Frida McFadden about. Is all I'm saying.
But I haven't heard from either of them, so I don't think those are going to be the ones.
Yeah,
I'm already working my way down my list of other potential authors that I have selected.
I own Naomi Novak's fantasy books, so if you do hear back, that will help me out because I got it from Owl Crate when it first came out. So
I've read Uprooted by Naomi. I don't know that I've read anything else.
Let me see. I may have closed the thing that showed last year's. Actually, somebody put in the Discord how last year's did.
Oh yeah, it's up on the chat for last year's. But I think that was like right in the first week though. So might not be updated by now.
Oh, I can look and see.
Somebody made a little thing with all the stats from last year versus this year. Oh, here it is.
Silvana did it. Last year was 406,242 pages.
Yeah. And it was 102 people. It was okay. Last year was things happened, and some people were submitting the same book like 5 or 6 times.
Oh, no.
Things like that. And so do we want to really base it off of those numbers?
Oh no.
Well, I like the pages per person because, that stat to me says no matter how many people we have, are we averaging the same amount that they did? And so I like that she did that in there.
Though again, versus last year, when one person enters the same book 5 or 6 times and like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people all do the same thing,
right,
and put the same 400 or 500 page book on 5 or 6 times, that's going to skew the numbers.
Yeah.
that it was reason that thing. That's why I changed how things went this year. Because when for some reason some people kind of just go overboard when it comes to competition, and I don't know why. I mean, it's reading. I mean, why you need to
And I mean, if you know
fudge the
anything,
numbers.
if you know anything about the way it works when you enter a book, there is a person who gets to see what you've entered on the other side. Like,
Yeah. So if I went through and I actually removed where the same person entered the same book and all the repeats that they did, the numbers would be very, very different.
okay.
Yeah. And the team that won last year, because it was the different cabins competing, that team would not have won.
Well, I found y'all at school at SeasonAthon Academy in the fall. That's when I joined your Discord and found out about it. And I made like a class schedule, and Mondays I read during this time and did this class. I had so much fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to I love doing the SeasonAthon Academy too, because like I go through and I'm making like the courses, and I'm using like an actual college curriculum, but changing like what each of these classes represent, like what you have to do for the class, and it's a lot of fun. Listening to The Third Best Thing and reading Dead Girls Don't Say Sorry. I don't think I've heard of either one of those.
I just looked them up after I saw the comment because I thought that they were saying it's the third best thing they've ever read. Like, wait, what? And then I got it that's the name of a book. It looks
Third
like
Best Thing sounds familiar.
A college romance is the third best thing.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Is one of your questions about if she rewrote The Last Miss Parrish and released it as The Housemaid? Oh.
No, I did not know about that at all. I have only read one of her books. I have heard so many things, and I loved the book that I did read. And ever since I read it, people wander in our library and they're like, have you read Frida McFadden? Like, they have so many questions about her. And then we start chatting about the books, and I'm like, I need to talk about this. So,
I have a lot of her books. Well, I've got quite a few, but I haven't read any of them yet. But I've just recently acquired quite a few, and so I'm looking forward to reading them. I hope they're good. Okay, so how many participated this year?
When she did that thing, there was 30 people here.
Yeah, I think it's gone up.
Yeah, because that was only like 5 days in or something.
So let's see. In Castle Cabin, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, crap. Hold on. Those aren't all in order. Let me start over. I had to rearrange them. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so 19 in Castle Cabin. Let me put that on there. And then in Shadow Cabin, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22 in Shadow Cabin. Though I'm pretty sure that there are some people that have put themselves in multiple cabins.
Well,
Like I think I saw Ray, somebody named Ray. Let me check mine again. They had 2 books they posted in Shadow Cabin. And then I think they had 2 books posted in Castle Cabin too.
maybe
no.
they thought that when they read like one of my prompts, they needed to put Shadow Cabin, and when they read your prompts, they needed to put your cabin.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
just basing it on like how many is listed under each
Right.
one.
We can just say they came to visit my cabin and read some books.
Yeah. So they'll get counted twice pretty much. And then for Drew's cabin, we have 1, 2, 3, 4,
I haven't put
5,
anything in
6,
recently, I don't think. So.
7, 8. Ray is also in that cabin.
Oh my gosh.
So let's see. So add 8. So 49 if you count like
So 47, if we take that off.
yeah. I don't know if he was the only one that did that, but it's just I happened to notice his name on all 3. But you could say 49, I guess. It could be 3 different Rays. Okay, I didn't know about that at all. Oh. Who cheated in readathon? It's so childish. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. They got called out before. Yeah. I love the school theme, and that was my first ever readathon with Mel.
I don't know what my first one was.
Would your team or Clint's team would have won? I can't remember. I honestly don't remember. I feel like Clinton's team, because it was based on average. So it was like you had this many people in each team, and then it was like Clint's team had the lowest number of pages total, but he also had just like the smallest amount of people. And so the average per person on his team was higher. So I think his team, but I really can't remember. I think mine just kind of went in the middle, or high.
Which is funny because you're the host of all of this.
That's okay, because I'm just here having for the fun of it, and yeah.
I also want to point out, even though we already celebrated both of us in the Discord, that you had this round for summertime. Both co-hosts' birthdays were on the same week in the same month.
I know, that's so wild. I that was not planned at all.
I think you or Amanda mentioned it in like one of our mini chats that we have. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So to be on par with last year, we should have read around 173,000 pages without you taking duplicates out of last year's round. I think we did amazing, and I'm going to call it that we beat last year.
Yay.
I say we beat last year because it was all honest. And going forward, we have a good basis for what to beat next year. So I think that's a good way to think about it. We'll just pretend last year just didn't happen, okay? No, YouTube knows I like watching Mel's videos, that they automatically play them, and I am totally not complaining. Yeah, she sent me a thing going, it was an older video, and she's like, so this just randomly came. Oh, it was a Y'all Fest video. And she's like, so this just randomly started playing, and I'm like, enjoy.
Was it our Y'all West or no?
No, I think it was my very first Y'all Fest that I went to.
That's an old video.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I'm excited for our food tonight.
I don't know what I want to make, because you said it's Asian inspired food, right?
Yeah, so I personally am going to have Thai. I'm going to order me some Thai food and have it delivered. I'm going to DoorDash.
Can you pick it up yourself if you're door dashing?
I mean, if I were going to do that, I wouldn't do DoorDash because that would, you have to pay like a delivery fee and stuff. And I wouldn't get all the delivery fee. DoorDash would get some of it. So if I were going there, I'd just call them and order it, but no. It's too far. I don't want to go.
Yeah. I asked my mom if she can make like chicken and rice or something like that. And she's like, you know what? That actually sounds good.
Yeah. I think I'm having pad Thai for dinner.
My husband's making something. He said, I'll just grab something from the grocery store. And I was like, I'm not complaining about that. So we're too far. Like, we live almost 30 miles from town. So there's definitely not any Asian places within fast, go pick up. So
do you know what he's going to?
Well, he just walked in. Let me see.
Okay, I also started that this year and I've been loving it. It's literally helping me cook. Like, amazing.
He's going to cook whatever he can find when he gets there to the store. I have suggested the orange chicken with fried rice. You can get the orange chicken stuff. But we'll see what he can find and what he feels like cooking. Because if I'm not cooking, I'm not complaining about it. So,
yeah, I'm not sure how tonight's gonna go because like I'm the only one that likes Thai food, but I want Thai food. And Marty's home from work tonight, and Xander's here, and his friends here, so they're gonna have to eat Thai food because that's what I'm getting.
I told everybody they were on their own. I was like, you guys handle yourselves, figure out food. I'm having this. So my husband's going to eat with me because he's cooking it, and the other kids are on their own. So
they can fend for themselves. I mean, I think there's like they offer like chicken tenders or something as well, so they can get that. I'm not sure what Marty would pick. Marty is always like, when I want Thai. But I'm like, there's lots of other good food that you can order. You don't have to get the same thing. I love pad Thai. I became obsessed with it like ever since we actually went to Thailand, and I couldn't eat anything spicy at all before going to Thailand, and then our exchange student that we were hanging out with, her and her family, her dad pretty much fried my taste buds into non-existence. And from that point forward, I actually could handle eating spicy food. They don't I mean, probably not to the extent that I once could when I was there, because I've been away long enough that my taste buds have adjusted because I don't eat everything spicy over there. Even their fruit is somehow spicy. Everything's spicy over there. Thai food is so good, right?
Okay, my numbers from the beginning of the live show were totally wrong.
Your numbers?
The amount of books I read this month. I just checked my Goodreads just now on my phone. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books in total I've read for the whole month. And 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Okay, I did do it right then. Duh. 7 of them I read for camps. Yes, camp SeasonAthon. It took me a minute.
You can ask for no spice in Thailand, so that at least they won't add spice when cooking. I know this now, but at the time, most of our meals were being ordered by our exchange student's father. So it was all being ordered in Thai by a Thai, and he had so much fun. He found so much pleasure in my pain.
Oh, no.
he would crack up laughing, and I'm like drinking the water, and he's just dying laughing.
Oh my gosh, my dog. When we lived in Spain, we would order food and they would say like it's spicy. And so I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I can handle spice. And then I tasted the Spanish version of spicy and I was like, oh, this is me right here. Like, this is not spicy at all. And they call it spicy. I'm like, great. So I ate everything in Spain that they said was spicy. I was like, I can eat it. Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh. I have to feed my dog.
So I know now if they tell me something, if I'm in Spain and they say it's spicy, just go for it.
Yeah, you're fine. If you even breathe the air in Thailand, then you're fine in Spain to eat spicy.
Oh, good Lord, the air in Thailand is so freaking hot. It's so hot. Like, you walk out and it's just like your lungs are singed. So hot. Mel, I'm behind in your travel vlogs. Did you end up visiting Bethany when you were in the UK? No, but that does get addressed, and I wanted to. We did go to the UK, and I wanted to, very much so, but Bethany disappeared, like ghost. She just disappeared to the point that like she no longer comments on videos, she's no longer a coffee patron, she doesn't show up on lives, she doesn't respond to emails or instant messages or anything else. She has just disappeared. And
Interesting.
I actually was like looking up obituaries and stuff because I was afraid something had happened to her, and because I couldn't get a hold of her, and I was like, well, I can't just show up at her in her neighborhood without having and she just a couple months before just disappeared, and never heard from her again.
Yikes.
And I actually found a picture in, I think it was Discord or Instagram, I can't remember, a picture she had shared with me of a screenshot of her phone, because she was showing me a message somebody had sent her, and I happened to see another message like that was on that picture that I didn't pay any attention to the first time around because it wasn't what we were talking about, but it was like an Instagram message from somebody else. And so I wrote that person because I was like, well, maybe they can contact her. I wrote them and I was like, hey, this is going on. I have no idea what's going on. I'm worried about her because, she would disappear for like 2 weeks at a time, maybe. And then she'd write me and say, hey, I had to step away because of whatever reason. And she would always like let me know after a week or two, but then she had disappeared for months. So I was freaking out. And, so I wrote this person and I was like, hey, could you, reach out to her, see if, you can get a hold of her, anything. I just want to know if she's okay. And, because the last conversation we had, we were talking about what kind of foods we like. And, she was talking about different British foods that she wants me to try. And I was telling her like what foods I like and don't like and things like that. And it was just a conversation about food. That was the last thing we talked about. And she disappeared. So nothing, it was like not anything bad happened or anything. And so the girl wrote her, and Bethany wrote her right back.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'm just being ghosted. Yeah. Yeah, T tried to reach out to her as well many times, and she ghosted her too. Ghosted the whole group. I don't know. It was very sucky. I cried. I was sad. I was relieved that nothing was wrong with her, but I was really my feelings were hurt. But that actually, I pretty much tell that story and what happened and all that in one of my vlogs right before going there. I don't know if that's posted or not. my Chesterfield. It was like the one before Chesterfield or the Chesterfield vlog when I talked about that. Yeah, it's funny. Like in my little planner here on like what video I have, like all my videos planned out and stuff. And so we went back to Brussels during the time that I was supposed to be at Bethany's, and I think that video is up. But I instead of changing what I had on here as Brussels, it says Bethany Part 1 and Bethany Part 2.
Oh.
Because I'm supposed to be there visiting her for a good chunk of time.
Well, I'm off at work in an hour, so I'm going to go back to work for a little bit, but I'll definitely be on the After Hour live show.
Okay. Well, we will see you at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Hopefully I'll finish, if not one, at least both books.
Try to finish Gilded.
Yeah?
Yeah, finish Gilded so we can all discuss that.
I'll try. Alrighty, I'll see you guys later tonight then.
All right, bye, Drew.
Bye.
Bye.
That's actually quite sad. Something must have been said in that group that participated last year, which sucks because I still enjoy watching them and participating in their stuff too. I don't know. I mean, Bethany saw all the behind the scenes stuff too, like all the screenshots and everything. She knew everything. So I don't know. I don't know enough to pick sides, so I still support everyone. That's fine. I don't think anybody really has to pick anything. Just enjoy the content, man. But no, like I don't know. My mind's blown about the Bethany thing. Like I still write her occasionally, going like because I've got her emails and stuff from sending her gifts and stuff on her Amazon wish list, and like I've told her, hey, I don't know what happened, but I'd love to have you back. Because we were good buddies, and she just disappeared. But yeah, I'm like I'm nervous about trying to meet people because it hasn't always gone very well. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop.
I've only met one person like from my channel that was like, hey, let's meet. And it was actually not my reading channel. It was from my Sims gaming channel. And we happened to be down in Louisiana doing something, my husband and I, and she was like, let's do dinner. And at first I was like, okay. And I was a little bit worried. And then she was like, I'm bringing my husband and my daughter. You bring your husband. And I was like, okay, great. Like, let's all do this in a very public place. I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but I was very nervous about it.
Let's see. I think the first time I had a planned get together with somebody that was a subscriber. She was actually an author that had sent me her book, which I hated it. I hated her book.
Oh no.
I was nice about it, but I let her know that in the nicest way possible that I hated it.
Oh yeah, I don't want to do that.
But we did actually meet up. It was really nice. It was cool. It was her and her husband and her son, and me and Marty, and I can't remember if any of the kids were with us or not, but at least me and Marty. And we were meeting. We had gone. It had to be Xander too. We had gone to Universal Studios, and we met with them because they lived in the Orlando area, and we met him at like the Chocolate Factory restaurant or whatever that's like there at Universal Studios, and we all like had dinner together, and it was a lot of fun. And other times, like I've met a couple people, like unintentionally, just like in the wild, I guess, at book festivals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then at BEA and BookCon, like, I met a whole bunch of people. And
I want to go to some kind of book convention. I've never gone to anything like that. Okay, Kay, you're adverse to Canada. Is that true, Melanie?
What? Oh. Oh, well, Canada and I have had our problems.
Okay, Kay, where are you in Canada? Because I'm pretty close to the Canadian border.
Let's see, I'd like to meet you eventually, Mel, although I know you're adverse to Canada. So
although I just met you today, I'm not saying we have to meet. I'm just being nosy. So
I'd have to come to you to grab lunch or something. Yeah, I'm not adverse to Canada. I am adverse to Air Canada for sure.
Why are you being so loud?
I'm adverse to Air Canada.
Loud.
I'm adverse to getting trapped in Canada. We took a cruise. We flew to Canada, which was a nightmare trying to get to Canada. Then we flew to Vancouver, and then we took an Alaskan cruise out of Vancouver, and then we got back and we all ended up with COVID and couldn't go home, and we got trapped in Canada for 9 extra days and cost a small fortune, which we still have not gotten money back from all of that stuff. Yeah, T's also in Canada. 8-hour drive from Minneapolis. That's up in Canada.
Oh, well, there we go. So she's 2 hours from Winnipeg, and I'm about 8 hours from Winnipeg.
I'm near Montreal, Quebec. I'm in a way northwestern Ontario town, 2 hours from Winnipeg, Manitoba. 8 hours from Winnipeg.
If you go straight up from where I am, you'll be on the border between Manitoba and Saskatchewan. So like the border between those two. If you go straight north in about 30 miles, you're right there in Canada, but on the border between those two. There's no towns. I mean, there are towns, but it's just like it is here in the US. They're small towns and they're separated out by a lot. So anyway.
Yeah, see, here where I live, it's not separated out quite as much as where you live.
No. Let me tell you, the longest drive I ever had in my life, though, was driving from one corner of Tennessee to the other. So I went from Bristol to Memphis, and it took us like 10 hours to drive just across the state of Tennessee. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I got you beat. Okay. We were going from Savannah, Tennessee, which is where Marty's parents live, or where they used to live. We were going from there all the way to San Diego with a little stop at Grand Canyon and Vegas along the way.
Yeah.
But so you know how Texas goes out to these points way out? We ended up going in like at one point and out the other point, and it was like the whole trip was like 36 hours, but 24 of it was
in Texas.
Across Texas.
Yeah, we lived in San Antonio for a while, and just driving anywhere in Texas.
I'm adverse to Texas, okay?
I'm adverse to Texas as well. If we get to choose.
I would rather go to Canada than Texas, okay?
It's too hot. It's too hot. It's huge. It's too big.
Too hot, too big.
Yes.
Too dry.
Yeah.
I got attacked by what do you call it? A tumbleweed. I got attacked by a tumbleweed in Texas. I didn't know. At the time, I did not know that tumbleweeds were alive. I did not know that, because they just look like dried up dead sticks rolled up in a ball, pretty much. I did not know that they were covered in tiny little hairs of splinters all over them. And We had
Yes,
stopped
like
at the
half to him, half to her, please.
gas
Sorry.
station, and there was a tumbleweed stuck to the grill of our car, and I just grabbed it with my bare hand, not knowing, grabbed it and was pulling it out, and then my hands were on fire, on fire, and like covered in tiny little splinter things, which I had to go wash my hands off, and then I stuck them in the ice cream freezer in the gas station.
Nice. I think it depends on where and what kind. Like, because South Dakota tumbleweeds are mostly just sticks that have wound themselves together.
That's what those look like.
And so they're not as attacking, but the wind blows so fast there that if you get hit by one, it definitely hurts, but it's mostly just sticks. There's not.
Well, see, these looked like sticks, just look like sticks until you put your hands on them, and they're not just sticks.
We were somewhere in some desert around the Grand Canyon, probably like the petrified forest that's over there in that area. Anyway, they had sticky things there that would stick to your socks, but then when you tried to touch them, they lodged themselves into your fingers, and then you couldn't pull them off because they'd stick to your other fingers. So you had to like use things to get them off of you, and it was awful. I was like, "Why are we here? It's hot. I don't want
Why are we here?"
Yes, I was thinking
Marty had that "Why are we here" moment many times when we were in Thailand, because he's like, "Why are we here? Why is it so hot?"
Yeah, I don't want to be hot. That's why I love it here in North Dakota. I'll stay here. It's fine.
Kay says, I live over 16 hours from my hometown, still in Ontario. If you look at latitude, the two towns are almost parallel, but of course, there's not a direct route. Wow.
Right. So you have to go down 10 hours and over 6. I mean, Canadian sections, what are they called? They're not states, are they?
Provinces?
I'm sorry, I'm in North Dakota. I lived in South Dakota for a few years, but right now I live in North Dakota. Yes. My husband is in the military, so we've lived everywhere in the last 16 years. We've lived in 12 different places, I think. So
I think they're called provinces.
Provinces. They're huge. I'm like, of course it would take you forever to drive across Ontario because it's huge.
No. I remember when Tennessee, like just the size of Tennessee. Oh, I was right. Provinces. The size of Tennessee, like amazed. So, like a lot of my exchange students, because especially the ones over in Europe, because of just how it looks. Like you would think Tennessee's this, the size of a lot. Well, you'd think it was a lot smaller, just looking relative, but like the entire, like all of Europe could fit in the US, and then some, like probably multiple times. So you don't realize how big the US is especially until you go over there and you're like, can bounce from country to country to country. Like nothing. Like it takes longer to go from like one country to another over there than it does to go from one state to another over here.
Yeah, we also lived in Turkey, and one of our friends from Turkey was like, "Oh, we're coming," because we were moving from Turkey back to Washington, D.C., and he said, "We're visiting the United States, so we will see you." And I was like, "Okay, where are y'all?" I said, "Where are you coming?" And he said, "To Washington." And I was like, "Oh, great, that's where we will live." And he said, "Washington State." And I was like, "No, then you're not going to see us in DC." And he said, "Yes, it's not." I was like, "No, it's way further than you think it is to get from one side of the country to the other."
Way further.
So it was so funny that he was just convinced that once he got to the States, he was, of course, going to see us. And I was like, no, it's not. We're not going to see
We are not as close as you think.
Right. It's a little further, but
yeah, a lot of people are surprised by the size of everything here, because it looks like, when you look at a map relative to other places, it looks smaller, but then when you get here, it's so much bigger.
Well, I mean, Canadians get it because they know how far it is from like British Columbia over to Quebec, or I don't know what the.
Oh yeah, Canadians definitely get it.
Clearly need to work on my geography since I didn't even know they were called provinces, but
Canadians definitely get it. Oh, speaking of, like, where did I set the thing? Oh, I opened this up today, and this let me roll it back the
it's
other
a
way.
scratch off.
Yeah, it's a top 100 places, the ultimate travel list.
Oh.
And I was looking at it. I was like, I started scratching things off, but I was looking at, because Marty and I are going to Greece and Croatia, and I was like, oh, are any of the things on here
Greece has to be.
versions or whatever we can do? And so the Acropolis is on here.
Oh, it's locations, not like cities, but actual things.
Yeah, so like,
Okay.
it's got Mount Everest, Nepal, Taj Mahal, India, Golden Gate Bridge, U.S.
Here's my advice for the Acropolis is that you take a taxi and get dropped off at the top because it's high. And then after you visit it, you get to walk back down all those little tiny roads back down to the heart of Athens. And it's beautiful. So
we booked an excursion, literally booked it today.
Okay. Well, there you go then. You don't have to do that. We were on a cruise and they let us off. And so we just got a taxi to drop us off there. And then we walked down. So
yeah, we booked an excursion because we're doing Split, Croatia, Mykonos, Athens, and Olympia. And we booked an excursion at each of those places. Though I think Athens, like the Acropolis, was the only thing on here of the places that we're stopping. But I was able to scratch off some, and I have more I need to scratch off already. Like I've been to Chichen Itza. I don't know how you say it, in Mexico. Statue of Liberty, Eiffel Tower.
Drew said he just got a text.
The author just now texted me back. Really? What'd she say? Where's she at? One of those, but for children's classics. I have one of these for like countries, like it's a map that you scratch off too, which I need to.
We've got the country map, but my son's got horror movie one that he scratches off.
That's nice. I would want to do that one. Hi guys, just popping in real quick as we're watching the Euros soccer.
It's a soccer tournament.
Thanks for such a great readathon. I managed to read like 18 books this month. That's awesome.
Good job.
Yeah, I saw her name quite a bit for Shadow Cabin.
Yep.
Yeah. What was your favorite book that you read this month?
And then tell me who you're watching to win the Euros.
So we went to the gardens and the Eiffel Tower.
We did the Eiffel Tower.
Milford Sound, which is in New Zealand.
I'm probably going to get to mark off like one thing if I had that thing.
Hold on. Let's go through the list and you can tell me if you've got any of these.
Okay.
So I've already said a couple of them. Uyuni Salt Flat in Bolivia. Pyramids in the Sphinx, Egypt. Easter Island, Chile. Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. Mount Fuji, Japan. Oh, I can scratch off Las Vegas Strip up in there. Petra, Jordan. Itsukushima Shrine in Japan. Avenue of the Baobabs in Madagascar. Stonehenge, England.
Oh, yeah, Stonehenge. I've been to Stonehenge.
Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
Oh my gosh, no. We have to pause. Fallon's favorite book is The Shadows. One more strike against you, Melanie. Melanie gave it 2 stars. What?
Oh, but you know what? John Mars, though, loved John Mars. Like I've read The Passengers by him. I feel like I read something else by him too, and I loved The Passengers. Yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars. I was bored.
There you go, Fallon. From London.
Mark the Statue of Liberty. I should get that for my bestie sister. She's visited 85 countries. If COVID didn't happen, she would have reached 100 by 2022. Nice. Okay, La Mont Saint Michael in France, Acropolis of Athens, Greece,
Yes, that one.
Machu Picchu, Peru,
No.
Nazca Lines, Peru, Chichen Itza, Mexico, the Great Wall of China, Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, White Wilderness, Antarctica, Yellowstone National Park, U.S.,
Yes.
Bora Bora, French Polynesia, Red Square, Russia, Sasasvili in Namibia, Okavango Delta in Botswana. I'm probably butchering these words.
The only place I've been in Africa is Morocco. So anyway, but go ahead.
Monument Valley in the U.S., Christ the Redeemer
What
in
is
Brazil.
Monument Valley?
I have to look it up. I don't know where that is. 2 stars. What? I was bored. Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe.
Oh, it's in Utah, by the way. Monument Valley.
Oh. Charles Bridge in Czech Republic. Uluru Kata Tajuka National Park in Australia. Milford Sound, New Zealand. Ilulissat Ice Fjord in Greenland.
I'm sure that's exactly how it says.
Ilulissat. Komodo Island in Indonesia. Mount Kilimanjaro, Tanzania. Lake Nakuru in Kenya. Great Mosque of Dajin in Mali. Yosemite National Park in the U.S.
Yes. No, I've not been there.
Kinkaru-ji Temple in Japan. Cliffs of Moher in Ireland.
Oh, yes.
Ghats of Varanasi, India. Lake Baikal in Russia. Registan in Uzbekistan. Santorini in Greece.
Yes.
Table Mountain in South Africa. Niagara Falls, Canada. I've been there.
Yes.
Volcanoes National Park in Rwanda. Cinque Terre in Italy.
Yes.
Lofoten Arpeggio in Norway. This castle. I want to go to this castle, but I can't pronounce the word. Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. It's like Sleeping
I've
Beauty's
been.
castle.
Yeah. I've been.
Sequoia National Park in the U.S. Great Blue Hole in Belize.
No.
Hagia Sophia in Turkey.
Yes. Hagia Sophia.
Hagia. Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. Canals of Venice. I am going there. Manuel Antonio National Park in Costa Rica. Zermatt, Switzerland. That was actually one of the places that Xander and I were going to go, but we decided to go to Austria instead. Paro Tuxang in Bhutan. Amazon rainforest in Brazil. Waitomo glowworm caves in New Zealand.
Glowworms? Okay, I need a New Zealand trip. There's like 3 places on there that you've just said. I need to go see some glowworms.
Angel Falls, Venezuela. Borobudur in Indonesia. Grand Canyon in the U.S. Been there.
Yes.
Central, Portugal. Antelope Canyon in the U.S. Dead Sea in Israel. Cappadocia in Turkey. I want to go there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I want to do the hot air balloons.
Yes, we got to watch it. I was not going up in a hot air balloon. So no.
Iguazu Falls, Argentina. Kauai, Hawaii, U.S.
Antelope Canyon in the U.S. is in Arizona.
Danakil Depression in Ethiopia. Sagrada Familia in Spain. Been there.
Mm-hmm.
Burj Khalifa in United Arab Emirates.
That's that giant building in UAE, like the tallest building in the world.
Walls of Dubrovnik in Croatia. Old Havana in Cuba. Perito Moreno Glacier in Argentina. Antigua, Guatemala. Medina of Fez in Morocco.
Yes.
Mühlwasser waterfall in Faroe Islands, Denmark. Marble caves in Chile. Colosseum in Italy. Been there. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Banff National Park in Canada.
No, but I want to.
Bagan, Myanmar. Victoria Peak in Hong Kong. Wat Phra Khao in Thailand. I have to look what that is to see if I've been there or not. I don't know. Church of the Holy Specular in Israel. Westminster Abbey in England. Been there. Terracotta Army in China.
No.
Torres del Paine in Chile. The Louvre in France. Been there.
Yes.
Potala Palace in Tibet. Gardens by the Bay in Singapore. Hustai National Park in Mongolia. Golden Circle, Iceland. I had Marty look that up because I was like, we went to Iceland. We went to a couple places. Were we in the Golden Circle? We were not.
Oh.
Vienna State Opera in Austria.
I went to Austria, but I didn't do that.
I didn't do that either. Nasir al-Mulk Mosque in Iran. And that's all of them.
There are some of those places that I do not want to go, but some of them sound like they would be interesting.
I would go to every single one of these places at least once.
No.
Because I want to go everywhere and do everything and see everything.
After having lived in places where I cannot readily communicate with people, I feel bad. So unless I know the language in the place, it makes me like I just hate that I can't communicate with people or speak enough of their language to be able to.
Google Translate helps a lot.
Well, I know it does until you have a medical emergency like I did and you wind up in a hospital and nobody can talk to you and you don't know what's going on. Because the translator was supposed to be there, but she never showed up. So it was a whole lot of hand gesturing when I was conscious. So it was very scary. And I was like, I'm fine without going anywhere else. So anyway.
I injured myself a few times on our trip and I didn't go and do anything about it until like getting back to the US. Like I went to my doctor like not long ago and he was like, okay, so what's going on? And I'm like, well, this hurts. I hurt this back in March. I hurt this in February. I hurt this. And so he's like, okay, I'm sending you to an orthopedic surgeon.
Right.
They're going to check you out.
And for the most part, I mean, if you're in a big enough place, there's always somebody that speaks English. But I just did not enjoy trying to figure it out, especially because I speak a lot of Spanish and we lived in Spain and I was like, I can do this. And I can when outside of medical stuff, like I don't know medical words in Spanish. And so I was very like out of my depth. And I think that was probably it. Number one, I was freaking out. I mean, it was a very serious situation. So it was a lot of layers, I'll just say. So, but when we were in Turkey, I loved it. Like I learned a little bit of Turkish, but
for the longest time, I had a window up on my a tab open on my computer, and it was like learning common Turkish sayings. I was like, let's go retire to Turkey. And Marty's like, what?
If you retire to the Greece side of Turkey, it's beautiful, and you're right there on the ocean, and everything is great. And just don't retire to the other side of Turkey. So.
Seen Christ the Redeemer, Niagara Falls.
Oh, is that in Rio? The Christ the Redeemer statue?
Yes.
Rio de Janeiro?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't been there.
Santorini is beautiful. Santorini is not one of the places that we'll be going. We're going to do Athens.
You're going to Mykonos, though, right?
Mykonos, and
it's very close.
Olympia.
I mean, they're all white and blue and beautiful. So
yeah, we're doing a walking tour in Mykonos. So I think we had a choice of like 8:30 in the morning or 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm like, 8:30 gives us time to explore on our own after, but 1:30 means we can sleep in. I ended up picking the 8:30 one though, because I want to be able to have as much time to explore.
Yeah, that was me.
I went to Niagara Falls when I was like 2. Been there a couple of times. It's very cool.
We took our kids when they were too little, and they don't remember it either, but I do.
I don't think Becca would remember. Xander definitely wouldn't, because he was like baby. Never been on a plane. I've been on a lot of planes.
I didn't get on a plane until I was in my 20s, maybe like middle to late 20s. So
I think I was on my first plane when I was like 4 or 5 by myself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was flying. I don't remember. I think I was flying from Texas. I think we were living in Texas maybe at that time. I just remember I was flying from either that or Kansas, but I was flying from there to Tennessee to stay with my grandparents for a little while my mom was having my youngest sister. I don't know why my other sister wasn't with me, but I'm the oldest, and I went to stay with my grandparents. Apparently, I hung up on my mom. My mom was in the hospital. She's just given birth to my baby sister, and I was so done with having a sister already that I didn't want another one.
Oh my
And
God.
so when she told me it was a girl, I hung up on her.
You're like, no, I've had enough.
And
I'm
then
the baby, so
then when I flew back home and my mom was there waiting at the airport to pick me up, I come off and I'm a little priss. Okay, I'm like all done up. I've been spoiled and pampered while I'm at my grandparents, and I get off and she's got this baby, and I was like, whose baby's that? I was just not accepting this child. Whose baby is that? Now I don't have to worry about that. I get good medical benefits when I'm traveling through work.
yeah, it's not the
Personal
benefits.
travel.
It wasn't the money part. It was the communicating with the doctor part, and I've never been to San Francisco.
I've never been to San Francisco either.
Yeah.
I want to. California, Brazil, and Colombia. I've been to both sides.
I love it. The Canadian side is better.
Well, it is.
It is. I agree. It is. I have to let my dogs out, but I'm right here.
The first time that I ever went to Niagara Falls, I was pregnant with my daughter. So this was, 24 plus years ago. I was pregnant with my daughter. And Marty and I had, we were a guy hired us to like drive his adult son, who's older than we were, to this place in Myrtle Beach from Tennessee. And so we drove him and dropped him off, and then we hung out a couple of days in Myrtle Beach, and then we decided to go on up to Niagara Falls because it's on the way, right? And we decided we drove all the way to Niagara Falls and stayed on the Canada side, and our bank screwed up. So like there's the money difference, the change, like I think they use British pounds or whatever, or I don't know, Canadian money, but the it's a different amount. And so everything we were charging over there, our bank was charging us, say it was 100 Canadian, they were charging, and that's actually less in the US, they were charging 100 US. And they were doing that for everything. And we were keeping our stuff balanced, so we knew how much we had, so we were good. And then the day we were leaving Canada, we drove over to the US side and we stopped at a gas station to get gas to drive the rest of the way home back to Tennessee. And our card was declined because they had screwed up and we now had negative money. And they caught the error. They were able to fix it, but the money wouldn't actually repost till the next day or something. And we were like, We're stuck in New York. What are we supposed to do? We don't have money for a hotel. We got no money for gas. We got no money for food. We had no cash. We were like just stranded there. And the guy at the gas station was super nice and we had I had a huge thing of CDs, and he offered to buy my CDs with enough money to cover our gas and food and whatever we needed to get home. And then he also gave me his number, and he was like, if you want these back, you can buy them back when you get back home, and I'll send them to you. You just pay for like the shipping and stuff back, which I ended up not doing. But luckily we were able to get home but yeah, there's another Canadian fiasco there.
Right. That's what you don't like about it.
I'm 39, but I have claustrophobia, and I don't like to be stuck around surrounded by people. That's a thing I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah, like I am not claustrophobic. Well, it takes a lot. I discovered that if you put me down in a tiny cave in Turkey, I do kind of have a little
very claustrophobic.
But airplanes give me that feeling sometimes. Like I'll be like, you know what? I can't do anything. Like I can't leave here. I can't go away from here. I'm stuck in this tube for however long I'm here. So I do get those moments. I just try to sleep as much as possible when I'm on a plane, or I watch movies, or I do something that gets my mind off of the fact that I am stuck in that spot. So, but I don't love it either.
I don't mind bigger planes. I only ever have a problem when it's like the really small planes. For the most part, I mean, if I'm on a really small plane and I'm like in the basic or economy or something like that, and everybody's like crammed together, I'm struggling. And I cannot sit at the window. I've got to be at the aisle, so I have at least some space. But if I'm on one of those huge planes and the bigger seats, and it's like the big Delta flights or whatever, or especially if I'm in like Comfort Plus where there's a little extra room, I have no problem with it. And I'm a super claustrophobic. I can't ride in the back seat with multiple people and feel like if we're crowded in a back seat, I feel like I can't breathe. Marty's had to talk me down on a few tours that we've done where we've gotten stuck on like a bus that's packed with people, and I'm like, he's like, just breathe, and he tries to give me as much space as he can because I'll straight up start panicking. I've heard San Fran is not the same. I guess it's now overrun with homeless people and addicts. I feel like it's always been there. That
yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know anybody that lives there. Like I know people that live in California, but not in San Francisco. So I don't know.
I think there are certain parts that have probably always been that way, and then there are certain parts that are always on the nicer side. And I think that kind of goes for anywhere. But I would still want to visit San Francisco, like the Golden Gate Bridge and the really tall hills with the pretty houses, and where like
and isn't
the
that where
Full House,
the Rock? What is that called? The prison?
Oh, Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. Isn't that where it is? Just off the coast?
I think so.
I think so too. I want to go there.
The Queen is on the money, but it's Canadian money.
Yeah, we have where I work at the library, since we're pretty close to the border, we actually have some Canadian coins sitting on our little checkout thing that says, make sure you know whose face is on this money before you take it, because we've accidentally taken quite a few Canadian coins over the years, apparently. So
if I'm sitting down in the aisles full of people waiting to get to their seats or off, it triggers it.
Yes, I feel it more strongly at that point too, when there's like no way to move because the aisles are full. Yeah.
So I like it's not so bad getting on because I usually get priority getting on, so I don't have to like go through a whole bunch of people. But it's the getting off when everybody starts standing up and trying to pull their bags down. Most of the time I'll just try to like wait.
Yeah, I don't even move. I just sit there and I'm like, y'all can wait on me. I'm not.
Yeah. Unless it's like I'm in a rush and I have to get to my next like connecting flight or something, then I'll just sit and wait because it's too much, too many people, too close to. Can't handle it. Even sitting there can be kind of hairy because you got people that are just right here, right beside you.
Right. Yes, Alcatraz. I don't know why. I was like, it's called The Rock. Like, I know that much, but I could not.
I was like, Dwayne Johnson?
No.
The Rock. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Man, that man is huge. I saw a picture of him the other day, like with his like all bulged out, and I'm just like, dang. I mean, I love him to death, but he is massive. Like, I think I could, and I'm not a small person. I mean, I'm small in height, but like I'm not small around, and I think I could fit into one of his arms or legs. They're so massive. Well, listening to you guys, it's not helping me want to travel.
I'm sorry.
Traveling is, in my opinion, the best thing ever. Like,
well, start out maybe with a small flight. Like, don't try to go from Canada to Europe or something. Like, come down here to the U.S. and.
Well, you're in Montreal, so going over to Europe, it wouldn't be that bad.
Oh, I didn't know where.
Yeah, she's Montreal, Canada. So go like popping over to like Ireland or England or something would actually be not a long flight at all for you.
Oh yeah, you're right. But like Montreal to New York City would be even shorter. Oh, London would be nice.
Yeah. Montreal to London would probably just, out of curiosity, let's see.
She said it's a 5 to 6 hour flight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that's not bad, but maybe not for your first flight. But Montreal to like New York, like you said, that's probably like what, an hour or two?
Yeah, it's got to be not even that, maybe. Because you're going to have a big enough airline and you're flying into a big enough city that you'll be on a bigger plane. So
literally the exact same
the exact same thing. But listen, if you gave me the choice of going on a driving road trip or flying somewhere, I will drive all the time, every day, no matter what. Like, I love a road trip. You just tell me when we're leaving and when we're coming back, and I am good to go. Like,
I'm down for a road trip in chunks. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because of my age. I don't know. But road trips used to be a whole lot easier, and they've gotten harder as I've gotten older. I don't know, just sitting in one place or something for that long. But
well, okay. So our first assignment when we moved out of Arkansas, we moved to Colorado Springs, and it was like a 19-hour drive to get home. And we would just do it. No problem. We'd load the kids up in the car and we would drive 19 hours like it was no big deal. Mm-hmm. Then the next time we moved far away was South Dakota, which was like 21 hours to get home. And we had to break it up into 2 days because we were no longer young enough to drive that without stopping. Mm-hmm. Now we're 24 hours from home up here in North Dakota, and we definitely break it into 2 days because nobody can do 24 straight hours, or nobody needs to do it. So anyway.
See, like way back in the day, and when I say way back in the day, I'm like 20 years ago, way back in the day, that 36 hour from Tennessee to California, or actually in that case, it was like to Vegas. We did in one go. Like, we just took turns driving. And we just did it all. And we did that, and would do that coming back when we would go from San Diego to Mobile or San Diego to Florence, Alabama. We would just take turns driving. It'd be fine.
Well,
we were also in our 20s.
Right. And to make a road trip enjoyable, the rule is the 3-3-3 rule. So you don't travel more than 300 miles, and you make sure you arrive by 3 p.m. wherever you're going. That way you have like, I don't remember what the other 3 is, but
I was gonna say, what's the other 3?
I know, I don't know. But you make sure that you're not driving all day. You make sure that when you get there, you still have things to do and it's daylight outside in case you want to go do something. And then, so if you're planning an actual trip that is more about the drive than it is the destination, then those are the rules to follow. If you're just trying to get somewhere, then just get somewhere. But
so I did this was 2016, I think. 2015 or 2016. Gosh, that was like 8 or 9 years ago. Gosh, that was a lot longer than it seems. I was doing a little road trip with my daughter, and we were going to go. She wanted to go to this thing in Boston, and wasn't really sure about putting her on a plane and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'll take you, and we'll make a whole trip out of it. And so we left. We actually left a couple of weeks before her thing in Boston, and we did it like a college road trip thing. So we went from here up to Bowling Green, Kentucky, which was like, that was only like 3 hours away, something like that. And we stayed the night there. We checked out the school, all that stuff. Then we went from there and we went to another place, like I want to say in Virginia. And then we kind of just kept going. You know, we did Yale, we did Harvard or Princeton, not Harvard. We did Yale and Princeton. We did all that stuff. It was really cool. And then after the Boston trip, which is funny, she went off and did her thing for a week, and my mom flew up and met me, and we spent a week being ridiculous and we had so much fun. And then she flew back home, and then we continued our college road trip. And we went all the way down to like, we did like Duke University and Alabama and all that, and then back home. And we like, sometimes we'd stay a couple of days in places. Like we went to New York City and we stayed a few days there. We went and saw Wicked on Broadway, and we went to a concert. It was Nelly, New Kids on the Block, and TLC.
Oh, yeah. I saw that same concert in DC for my birthday. It was my 40th birthday. And we saw those same 3 groups in DC when we lived in Maryland during that time. But
1 second, Xander's waving, trying to get my attention. Hold on.
Okay. I see that Kay said you want to do the Route 66 trip, and we did it. So it technically starts like Oklahoma or somewhere over around Oklahoma. But we got on the Arkansas. We're from Arkansas. So I went and picked up my family, all my aunts. We take a trip every year. And so we started there at the edge of Arkansas into Oklahoma and drove all the way across to the Grand Canyon. And it was so much fun. So we didn't do the full thing into California, but we had so much fun. But except that we did it the first week of July, and it was like hot. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I thought it was like ran like all the way, like not.
Well, it goes north at some point. Like it.
Oh yeah, it goes up to
Oklahoma.
Chicago.
It goes like up, yeah. So we caught it. I mean, we just joined up there in Oklahoma and rode across.
I did. I was on Route 66 for like a minute. Well, maybe not a minute, way more than a minute. But we were. This was years ago. My friend and I, we went to go whitewater rafting in the Grand Canyon. And so we had like a little moment where we were driving down Route 66, and there's this ridiculously cute little town along the way that I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, but the movie Cars. It was the movie Cars. And
we
like,
did as many of the cars stops along the route as we could. So we stayed in the Wigwam Hotel that's like shaped like the teepees. We stayed in the hotel because in the movie the cars drive in and stay in those things, but you can actually stay in the hotel. So we got rooms in that hotel. We went to this man who they said Mater was based off of, and he has a little, I'm going to call it a curio shop. It's just in the middle of nowhere shop in this little town. And he has like 2 teeth. And he loved that he was the inspiration for Mater and he ate it up. And so he took pictures with everybody and he was out there he loved it. And we did everything that we could that was from the Cars movie on that whole entire trip. It was so much fun. And
yeah, this place was just like they had a bunch of different like places where like the names of stuff, and then like there were actually some cars, like there was the tomato, like a car that looked like the tomato car,
right.
and stuff. And I was just like, they're so cute. And I stopped to take pictures, and my friend was asleep like the whole time. And she's like, what? When I stopped, I was like, I had to stop and take pictures. Hold on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a long trip and everybody was really tired. And on the way home, they were like, can we just drive straight back? So it was a little bit of a mess at the end, but it was so much fun.
I did the trip by bus to New York in high school. It took forever to get there. I mean, by bus, everything takes longer. Were you like, was it like a school bus and like you went with your school group, or you took like a Greyhound bus and had many stops of people getting on and off? Because those take forever.
It looks like the interstate, like I-87 in the US is what it looks like. Just comes straight down from Montreal to New York City.
Yeah, but if it's like a Greyhound kind of thing,
oh, I know you have to stop everywhere, and it goes through Albany too. So,
oh, she said school group, no stop.
Oh, okay. I still bet it felt forever getting down there.
How long was that? Oof. I'm guessing you got maps up.
I do. Directions from Montreal to New York.
Drew never told us what the author said.
Did not. It's 6 hours and 2 minutes if you go now in a car straight down. So roughly 6 hours.
That's not terrible, though. That does put you at driving into New York, which is terrible.
Which is terrible, especially like with a school group. If you were on a bus, I bet it did take you 8 to 10 with all the stops, because that's 6 hours nonstop. So I'm sure you had to stop and feed all those kids and go to the bathroom and get gas. And yeah, I bet.
Dude, the first time we ever went into New York City, so we lived in upstate New York, not like super upstate, but like Albany area. And we had lived there for a while, like a year or so. And the whole time we lived there, we never went to New York City until we were leaving New York City, or we were leaving New York. And so Marty and his parents came, and they went to meet us, and they flew into New York. And we just had Becca at the time, and Becca was actually going to fly home with them because we had a moving truck. So the first time we drive into New York City, we're driving into New York City with a moving truck with our car on the back of the moving, like on a trailer on the back of the moving truck. That's how we arrive in New York City. That was terrifying, and I'm so glad that I was not driving. Marty was driving, and he was terrified. And he is not a scared driver, but he was like, that was a lot. That was horrible. And then trying to park a moving truck in New York. Yeah, that was an experience.
I can't imagine. Drew sent a picture, and she thought it was 3 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yeah.
So apparently we all four of us, the three of us plus the author, are all in each of the time zones in the US because I'm central and you and Drew are east and west. And apparently she's mountain time. So
it's okay. I thought it was 3 p.m. So Drew says it's okay. I thought it was 3 p.m. Pacific time, my time, but it was. I had to head back to work though, so I think we might have to reschedule. No, we won't reschedule. it just wasn't.
Yeah. But it also, since I'm over here on the map, it looks like Albany is exactly halfway between Montreal and New York. So, like, if you were in Albany, you were as close to Montreal as you were to New York. Well, driving time, not actual miles, because it takes longer to drive into New York. So.
Yeah, when Becca and I were doing our little road trip thing, what we did was the last place we visited before New York was New Haven, Connecticut, which is where Yale is, and we took a train. We left our car parked in New Haven, and we took a train from there to New York City, which literally took like maybe an hour.
Yes.
Get into New York City.
We used to do the same thing. So when we lived in Maryland, we could drive up to New York City. Well, we would drive up to Jersey and park there and take the train into New York City because nobody wants to drive in New York City. But
no, it's awful. And then I ended up somehow driving into it by accident when I think when I was going, either when we were leaving Boston or when we were going to Boston, because I had to drive from New Haven to Boston. And I think I ended up driving through New York unintentionally. And I was just like, this is scary.
No, I don't want to do that.
But it was like bumper to bumper, but not slow. It was terrifying.
Well, I think I'm going to have to go and get stuff ready. I want to finish the book before we come back tonight.
Yes. So you've got to read, and I've got to get my food ordered and take this purple off my face.
Right. Okay.
Xander came in and he was like, why do you have purple on your face?
We're like, it's a thing.
Okay, but then
look at that. Thai bites. You got her wanting Thai food now.
Thai bites? What? Thai bites from Boston Pizza. Like, I'm confused.
We do.
Is it pizza? Is it Thai? Is it Thai on pizza? Like,
right.
to fit with
the theme. There you go.
Okay, we will see you all back here at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, whatever your time zone is, you can figure it out there.
7 p.m. Central. That's me.
There you go. And come with your food, your drinks, your merriment, and we will continue all of this. Wait, it's grilled chicken with sweet Thai sauce on noodles. From a pizza place? I'm just going to be like,
I know we must pizza? Okay. I hope it's good.
We will see you then. I hope you all had fun. If you did like this video, we'll see you at 8. Bye.